Right, let's begin the program by upping the glam quotient and the celebrity quotient on the Breakfast Club a little bit. Now, the biggest celebrities in India, think about them as I take their names. David Beckham, Rihanna, Miley Cyrus, Billie Eilish, even Indian celebs like Virat Kohli, Akshay Kumar, Priyanka Chopra, Saif Ali Khan. What do all of them have in common? Well, they all have inked their hearts literally on their sleeve. They all are tattooed. And how to often what it happens here in India, once celebs take a lead, their fans follow.
That's right. Getting inked or tattooed is, as you already know, a major trend. And as you know, it's not just for the young people. More and more, we're seeing the middle-aged and even the older age people, those who fall into the 60-plus demographic, going in for tattoos as well. But getting a tattoo isn't for the faint-hearted. So it's not just the process and the pain that can sometimes happen, the complications you sometimes have. It's also just the bigger question. This is a permanent change you're making. Imagine having to stay with that choice for the rest of your life. But this hasn't deterred more and more people from getting these tattoos. If you're one of them, what we're bringing you next, this is for you. Let's bring you some of the do's and don'ts of getting inked. Sonal.
I have this, and I have one here.
I'm not a tattoo lover. I don't have any tattoo on my body.
क्योंकि पसंद नहीं मेरे को टैटू करवाना.
नहीं, मेरी बॉडी पे टैटू नहीं है.
My skin is very sensitive and I cannot tolerate pain at any cost.
मुझे चाहिए 2-3 जगह, बट कभी मौका नहीं मिला बनाने का.
नहीं.
I won't prefer any time in the future as well to have tattoo on my body.
कुछ भी ऐसा चीज लिखवाना को अपनी बॉडी पे बेकार है, हार्मफुल हो सकता है इंक वगैरह.
टैटू बनाना सेफ है भी और नहीं भी है. आप एक बार कुछ बनवा लो और फिर बाद में आपको हटाना पड़े, फिर दिक्कत हो जाती है.
Getting ink can be harmful for the body.
All right, let's start by understanding some basics when it comes to tattooing. We're not saying it's a bad thing, but largely these are the 5 things that you must remember that can develop as a complication. Number 1, you can end up getting a skin allergy. It's like redness, bumps, swelling and itching which may happen immediately and sometimes even weeks or days later due to the presence of nickel, remember, in the ink. The second thing that can happen is infections. That also at the site of the tattoo, and again infections are several, bacterial, viral, fungal as well. And third thing to remember is sometimes there may be scarring or keloid formation at the site of the tattoo. We'll expand on that as we go around the program. And the fourth bit, which a lot of people perhaps don't know about, is that blood-borne diseases can also happen because of tattooing. That means hepatitis B, C, HIV as well, if the entire equipment being used is not sterilized properly. And number 5, a lot is made out of this, the risk of cancer, as tattoo ink contains something called benzopyrene. Benzopyrene, remember, is classified carcinogenic. But, before you jump to any conclusion, just hang on. We are not saying that all tattoos lead to cancer. We are just saying that benzopyrene is classified as a carcinogenic, but research is still ongoing on how much of it, what form of it, and how the usage of it can actually lead to cancer. So we're not saying don't get a tattoo, we're saying be mindful of these 5 things before you get one.
So we thought here on the Breakfast Club, we want to bring you all of the facts, the science behind everything that Sonal is telling us about right now. So we thought we'll go into detail with the dermat. Dr. Vandana Punjabi is joining us today. She's a dermatologist and a trichologist. Let's go over to her with all of our questions. Doc, tell us first, how often do you end up seeing tattoo patients in your OPD?
So I don't see it very often, maybe once in every 2-3 months. There's always some complication. Actually, what happens is that a lot of complications, as Sonal mentioned, some of them can happen early and some of them can be delayed. So we see a lot of delayed infections, common infections, which are seen many weeks and months after the tattoo. So we do see that.
Right, but Dr. Vandana, help us understand what is tattooing basically. It's like puncturing your skin and depositing ink over there, right? But a lot can go wrong in that. Can you point out to us what must one watch out for if one is thinking of getting a tattoo?
Watch out for, you mean to say what precautions should be taken before we get the tattoo?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one of the things is, first of all, as we decided, we have to be really sure. You know what happens? People do a lot of research about what kind of tattoo they want. But what I would recommend is do a lot of research about the studio where you want to get your tattoo done,
That's
the
actually a
artist
good
where you want
point.
to
Yeah.
do. Go there before you decide your design. See what kind of sterilization techniques are they using, the needles, the equipment, are they having it in sterile packaging? So do they open it from a fresh packet, or is it just sterilized offhand? How do they do it? See that. Also, the water which they use for sterilization should be a sterile distilled water. If you use tap water, you're going to get a lot of infections, because infections are very high after tattooing.
Doctor, what about the possibility? Because I know some people say we'll just pop a painkiller right before we get the tattoo. That'll keep us away from the pain. Does that work?
Yeah, of course. I mean, see, it's a painful procedure. You are going to get something inked into your body. But I mean, people who want the tattoo, they're ready to go for the pain. So it is painful, but if you take the post care properly, so if you're going to use the post care which has been advised properly by your artist, in the sense of cleaning the area well, moisturizing it well, you're not going to get complications if you take care about all of that.
Okay.
Right. Dr. Vandana, also, I think a lot of people, what they don't tell you is the precautions that one must be taking before you go in for a tattoo, right? So, can you share with us some bits on what sort of medicines to avoid? I was reading that even alcohol should be avoided 48 hours before you get a
Correct,
tattoo.
correct. Yeah, that's right. So you should, if you're on blood thinners, like aspirin, clopidogrel, all of this, you have to stop the blood thinners about 48 hours before, and you do the tattooing. Also, you should, maybe sometimes you need to stop it 72 hours. Depends. You can consult your doctor on the amount of blood thinners that you are on. You should definitely stop alcohol, smoking 2 to 3 days before the tattooing, and also we recommend not to have it 2 to 3 days after the tattooing, because there is some oozing from the site of the tattoo for a long time. The scabs are formed, so it will impair your wound healing. One of the important things that we should remember after the tattooing is that you should avoid sun exposure, because sun exposure is again going to
I
irritate your
see.
tattoo, and we see a lot of photoallergic reactions. So there are allergic reactions, as you mentioned, red, itchy skin, but a lot of them can be photoallergic also. The other thing we should also avoid is swimming, hot tubs, for at least a month after the tattooing, because there is a pseudomonas infection which happens in these swimming pools and hot tubs. So if you catch that infection, it's a long journey. You need antibiotics, orally, application,
Okay.
all of that. So it's better to avoid all of these things. Avoid sweating, because in humid weather, there's a lot of chances of bacterial infections,
Yeah.
folliculitis.
Yeah.
So these
Yeah. Yeah.
precautions, so it's not just about the procedure, looking at the
Yeah.
pre-care, looking at the sterilization technique, which is very, very important, but post-care is also very important for a good
No, you're
healing of.
absolutely right, Dr. Vandana, because the bottom line from our conversation here is this, that if you've made up your mind, please go get a tattoo. But as important is the picture that you want get done, or the art. Equally, if not more important, is where you're getting it done, and to ensure that you get it done the right way, and also consult your dermat before you actually do it. I think that's the bottom line
Yeah,
from
so
all
in
of this.
fact, I
Thanks so
have
much, Dr. Vandana.
correct. I have a lot of people who ask me all this before. So if you
Yeah.
consulted a doctor before, there are very less chances of complications. So it's like it's much better, as you said. Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely, that's a good tip for everybody to remember. Thanks, Dr. Vandana, for joining us here on
Thank you
TBC.
so
But we
much.
spoke
Thank
about
you so much.
dermats. Let's not take the fun out of tattooing as well. Our next guest is purely all of that and much more. Shantanu Hazarika now joins us this morning on the Breakfast Club. Good morning, Shantanu. Thanks so much for joining us. Now, for a lot of people who don't know Shantanu, he's what we call an artfluencer. But Shantanu, tell us, how big is this demand for tattooing? You obviously wear it all over. I don't even want to ask how many you have right now. But take us through, what are the different kinds of tattoo demands that come to you? And do you know any really fun, intense briefs that you must have got on what kind of tattoo it should be?
Hi guys. First of all, a very good morning to everyone. I think it has to be the earliest interview I've ever done. So, thank you for that. And when it comes to tattoos, see, I've always loved tattoos. Like ever since I was growing up, I've always seen like my seniors get tattoos, get hand poke tattoos and all. And we, as kids, as teenagers, we used to take like needles and poke fabric ink into our skin, which is very unsafe and bad. So I think it was just the old teenage me trying to experiment tattooing stuff and all. And when it comes to weird tattoo requests, like
Big disclaimer, please do not try this at home. Big
no, don't try
disclaimer.
this at home. This is
At
the
all.
worst thing you can do to your skin. But and you'll end up paying more to cover it up. So yeah, it's not a viable thing to do. But I think you'd asked me about weird tattoo requests. So, I customize sort of tattoos for my friend, like who does all my tattoos. So there's always sessions where I come in and I customize a tattoo, I design a tattoo. I don't do it myself because I lack
Yeah.
the practice. But I think some of the weirdest requests got is not the kind of tattoos, but where the tattoo is gonna be placed. So that's the weirdest thing, like that you people come up with. Like I have friends who have like eyelids tattoos. They have
Wow.
like tattoos over here. They have tattoos in like a lot of different parts of the body. So I think it becomes a tricky thing. And most of the weird tattoos are actually their current girlfriend's names, which I always recommend that you'll end up lasering it out. So twice the money for the tattoo artist. But I think these are the weirdest requests I ever get. And also, there are people who actually don't know what they want. That's the worst kind of a situation because they'll come up with really like outdated tattoo templates, like, and they'll be like, "Oh, I want this," and that's the worst time for you to design something. Where when you have indecisive clients, like giving you feedback on tattoos which they think they are cool.
Noted.
Can we ask you, Santanu, choose not to answer all of this because you have several tattoos of your own. And are you comfortable sharing? Because sometimes tattoos are very personal for people, but are you comfortable sharing what maybe one or two of them mean for you when you got them in your life?
Yeah, sure. So me and my friend, like my tattoo artist friend, we started our career together in our bedrooms. So we were first bedroom artists. So when he first started his practice, I made my first design and he made his first tattoo. So ever since we come across a different milestone in our life, I get myself inked with something which is significant of that time.
How old were you in the
So
first tattoo?
I was in school, I think, class 12. And so, for example, my most recent one is this is what I've got done. This is like my favorite band, Slipknot, and it's the frontman over here. There are like elements from things that I am inspired by, that is like anime and stuff like that. So there's like Kurama from Naruto inked here. Then there is a Dragon Ball hidden there. So it's mostly all the things that I grew up watching or my art is inspired by that I try to ink on my body. Like for example, here I have my pet cat Clara,
Love it.
who's sort of designed as a demon because she kind of controls my life. And then there is here I have an old tattoo of Salvador Dali because I'm like a really big fan of his work and the whole surreal movement and a bunch of other stuff like this. And there's a pagan goddess of hunt which is also associated with the goddess Venus. So there are always different kind of tattoos that I work around with, and it's mostly inspired from personal experiences, visuals that I am inspired by, be it Japanese anime, be it like music that I listen to. and the kind of mind space I'm in also matters a lot. I think, because I mean, and that's the commitment. Like tattoos are a commitment.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah,
something
it
that
is. It is. It is something that you have to live with for a really long time,
yes,
or go back to
yes,
an artist and pay a lot of more money to sort of retrace that. We've seen that happen to a lot of celebrities as well. But Shantanu, you wear, like anybody who has a tattoo, especially like yours, you wear your heart with the ink on your hand, on your sleeve, quite literally, right? I don't
right.
I don't want to get into, it's a breakfast show, so I don't want to get into weird places where people get it done from. This is still morning time, let's just remember that. But tell me, have you ever regretted a tattoo, and what do you do about that then?
Oh yes, I do have many regrets. Like not just one. Okay, I'll talk about the one I got when I was in my first year engineering. It was my birthday, and we had one guy who used to do hand poke tattoo, like I said, like with ink and needles and stuff. So this was a college hostel thing. So as a birthday gift, here after a party, after my birthday party, there's like, okay, I'm gonna gift you a tattoo. I'm like, yeah, sure, come on, go ahead, let's do it. So I have this weird tattoo here, which is like a thorn. I said, okay, I wanna a thorned out S. That's my initial with a little screw in the center.
Okay.
I was a little bit of a grunge thing, and then to my surprise, for many many days, I kept looking at the tattoo at the mirror, and the S was straight. Then it hit me, okay, this must be an inverted S because
Oh God.
it can't be straight when I'm looking at the mirror for the longest time. And now I am stuck with an
Ouch!
inverted, yes,
Ouch!
now I'm stuck with an inverted S, which is not my initial, and a weird thorn which looks like a mic. So, and the tattoo has turned green because it was not body friendly ink. And it was just some other random fabric ink, I think, which they've used.
Maybe you'll find a new meaning of S, Shantanu. That is all we can say of your many encounters that will happen over tattoo and artists. Maybe that's the only thing we can hope for now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe I need something to just change my mind about the letter S now. But yeah, that's one of my biggest regrets because I mean, guys, don't get your tattoos in like shady, dark corners of your hostel rooms because you're gonna regret it later.
Santanu, those are going to be your parting words then to all of our audiences. Don't get tattoos done in shady rooms. Thank you so much
No,
for joining us, Santanu, and thank you for waking up so early. Right here on The Breakfast Club, we're now going to take you from Santanu. So Santanu was someone, earlier we brought you a dermatologist, then we got you someone who designs tattoos, who's gotten many of them himself. Now we'll go to a tattoo artist. Joining us is Mahesh Chavan. He's a popular tattoo artist in Mumbai. He has a very popular handle called Moustache Tattoo, and he joins us right now. Sir, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Sir, आप हमें बताइए किस तरह के लोग आते हैं आपके पास, क्या-क्या रिक्वेस्ट लेके आते हैं सर?
रिक्वेस्ट फर्स्ट ये है कि मैम एक कपल टैटूज होते हैं, मोस्टली कवर अप ज्यादा होते हैं मेरे यहाँ पे टैटू बनाने के लिए। मैं तो मतलब कवर अप के लिए फेमस ही हूँ, और खास करके पोर्ट्रेट के लिए। पोर्ट्रेट मीन्स मॉम डैड फेस टैटू, या गर्लफ्रेंड का फेस टैटू, किसी भगवान का फेस टैटू, या किसी बाबा या कोई सेलिब्रिटी का फेस टैटू। लोग मतलब बहुत पैशनेट होते हैं, मतलब लोगों को बहुत पसंद है चीज़ों के लिए, और हर एक टैटू का एक मीनिंग होता है, हर एक टैटू का एक प्लेसमेंट होती है। तो लोग सोच समझ के भी टैटू करते हैं, कोई लोग थोड़ा जोश में करते हैं, कोई लोग थोड़ा डेयर में करते हैं कि दोस्तों के साथ डेयर करते हैं, वैसे वाले टैटूज भी आते हैं। तो हर कैटेगरी के हर एज के भी लोग आते हैं।
जी, पर महेश बताइए, जनरली परसेप्शन ये है कि ज्यादातर यंग लोग आते हैं अपना टैटू कराने। क्या ये सही है कि आपको कुछ मिडिल एज लोग भी मिलते हैं जो रिक्वेस्ट के साथ आते हैं?
मैम, मेरे यहाँ पे यंग लोग भी आते हैं, और 25 से लेके 55 के एज में बहुत सारे लोग ज्यादा आते हैं। मतलब मोस्टली मैरिड लोग तो ज्यादा ही आते हैं, अपने पति का, अपने बच्चों का फेस टैटू बनाने, या उनका फुटप्रिंट, या एक दूसरे का कपल टैटू, नेम टैटूज, या इनिशियल टैटू। ऐसे बहुत सारे रिक्वायरमेंट रहते हैं, तो सबके इच्छा पूरी होती है। आप
या पर जब ब्रेकअप हो जाता है तब क्या करते हैं? फिर उस नाम का क्या करते हैं?
कुछ नहीं मैम, ब्रेकअप होता है तो कवर अप होता है, अभी तो जो होना है वो होगा ही, अपन कुछ कर नहीं सकते। बट किसी किसी का होता है, 100 में से 10% लोगों का, बाकी लोग तो सक्सेस हो जाते हैं इस चीजों में, तो कोई निगेटिव नहीं। और अब टैटू मीन्स मैम स्कार टैटू होते हैं, स्कार लेजर ट्रीटमेंट वाले स्कार होते हैं, किसी का ऑपरेशन होता है, किसी को मजबूरी में होता है, मतलब किसी का जलना, बॉडी जल गई है या किसी बाइक एक्सीडेंट हो गया तो उसका जो स्कार रहता है तो उसको भी कवर अप करना होता है, या गर्लफ्रेंड का नाम, बॉयफ्रेंड का नाम, या गलती से डिवोर्स हो गया है तो उसका जो पहले टैटू बनाया था वो भी कवर अप कर सकते हैं। या आगे फ्यूचर में जिसके साथ डेट कर रहे हैं उसको पहले वाला टैटू पता नहीं चलना चाहिए कि क्या टैटू बनाया है इसने, किसी लड़की का बनाया है या किसी बॉयफ्रेंड का बनाया है, तो लोग ऐसे हिडन टैटूज भी बनाते हैं जिसको हम लोग कवर अप करते हैं मोस्टली।
माय गॉड, ऐसे भी होता है। सर हमें बताइए, थोड़ा सा जनरल पिक्चर दीजिए, सबसे ज्यादा कौन से टैटूज डिमांड में है?
मैम अभी अपने मॉम डैड भी तो जी रहे हैं ना एक दूसरे के साथ, तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। मतलब टैटू ऐसी चीज है कि मैम पैशनेट होते हैं लोग ना, वो लाइव कनेक्ट, मतलब उनके साथ कनेक्ट रहता है लोगों को, मतलब वो आदत है। किसी किसी को एकदम ऐसा लगता है कि ये टैटू की वजह से मेरी लाइफ चेंज हो गई।
हाँ।
तो लोग टैटू भी बनाते हैं। कोई लोग ऐसे बोलते हैं कि यार चलो अपन एक कपल टैटू बनाएंगे या फ्रेंडशिप वाला टैटू बनाएंगे, या अपने मॉम डैड को डेडिकेट करते हैं, तो वो लोग बोलते हैं कि अपने सबसे ज्यादा टैटू बनाते हैं मोस्टली तो मॉम डैड को ही ज्यादा रेफर करते हैं लोग, कि मेरा फर्स्ट टैटू मेरे मॉम डैड को डेडिकेट करना है। तो कोई लोग मॉम डैड बनाते हैं, तो कोई लोग उनका फेस टैटू बनाते हैं। तो सबका एक ऐसा फीलिंग होती है अंदर से, इमोशन होता है कि हर एक टैटू का।
जी जी। महेश, जाते जाते हमें ये भी बता दीजिए कि कई बार हम टैटू फन एंड गेम से बात करते हैं, पर कई बार कुछ लोगों के लाइफ चेंजिंग होता है। हमने अभी कुछ पिक्चर्स देखी कि कैसे कुछ बर्न विक्टिम्स आए आपके पास और आपने उनके बॉडी के स्कार्स को इतनी खूबसूरत आर्ट में बदल दिया। ऐसे एक्सपीरियंस भी होते हैं, उसके बारे में थोड़ा बताइए।
मैंने चैलेंजिंग टैटू ऐसे बैक पीसेस बहुत ज्यादा होते हैं। जैसे मैंने रिसेंटली अभी ऐसे टैटूज है जो कि एक क्लाइंट को तो मैम नाखून नहीं था, नेल्स नहीं था, तो आपको गन्ने का जो मशीन रहता है, गन्ने के जूस निकालते हैं, तो वो मशीन में उसकी उंगली फंस गई थी, तो उसको उंगली नहीं थी, तो हम लोगों ने उसको उंगली भी बनाई है। तो वो उसकी जो हैप्पीनेस रहता है, जो उस टाइम पे उसको कंपनी में काम करने की वजह से प्रॉब्लम हुआ, पर आज वो मतलब उसको उंगली आने की वजह से, टैटू में ऐसी चीजें मैम कि जो नहीं हो सकता ना वो हम टैटू में कर सकते हैं। जो स्कार है, ब्लेड मार्क स्कार है, उसको हम ना इतना ब्यूटीफुली बनाते हैं कि वो लगता ही नहीं कि ये कवर अप था, मतलब ऐसा लगता ही नहीं, ऐसा लगता है कि नई लाइफ मिली उसको, ऐसा लगता है एक जिंदगी मिलती है।
वाओ। ऑलराइट महेश जी, अपनी कहानियां बताने के लिए थैंक यू। दैट वाज अ रियली इंटरेस्टिंग डीप डाइव देयर। ओके, वी आर गोना गो इनटू अ क्विक ब्रेक।